Oh, no fizz. Well, welcome everybody to another Irish Porygon video. I'm Gavin, and welcome to First Impressions, which is the show where we review things 24 hours or less after they come out. And yes, I am very late to the party on this one. It has been well more than 24 hours since this album came out, but this album was just so damn good I had to review it even though I was late. Had a very busy weekend. Long story, but I was able to sit down and listen to the album in full yesterday, and I was pretty blown away. So I wanted to sit down and review this album no matter how late it's coming out. So that's why this is so late. I also wanted to review like Hosier and Metro and Future last week, but I didn't have time for that. So today we are sticking to it. We are getting through Beyonce's new album, Cowboy Carter, which came out on March 29th, 2024, just a couple days ago. Everybody knows about this album. It's Beyonce going country. I mean, Beyonce is just about one of the biggest pop stars in the world, of course. And I mean, going country is a seriously like divergence from what we're used to from her. So hearing that she was going to be going country was big news. So it's pretty crazy that we're here listening to this album now. Let's just jump right into it because I got a class at 1:30 I gotta get to, and it is currently 12:36. So let's get to it. This album opens with the track American Requiem. It was a pretty damn incredible opening. I mean, seriously, there's no question that Beyonce is one of the most talented singers of our time, and I mean, she shows it all off here through just some like really beautiful harmonies, some very powerful vocals, just a choir right off the bat. Not particularly country for a country album opener, so this was my first tip that this was not going to be a country album. This is a Beyonce album, and yes, there's country in there, of course. There's tons of country inspiration. That's kind of the whole vibe. You see the horsey and everything. But like, this is just not just a country album. This is a Beyonce country album. This is kind of our first clue. Hey, you're in for it. But the thing is, these harmonies aren't even complex. They're pretty simple choir harmonies, but like, it's Beyonce, and she's putting her whole like power behind the vocals, so they just sound great. The instruments that join next are very interesting. You get some guitars, of course, country, accompanied by also some nice like synth, very tasteful synth. It's not over the top, and some nice bass stuff too. The bass guitar is quite nice, and what sounds like a sitar, I can't really tell, but it sounded like there was either like a sitar patch on a synth, or maybe a real sitar, I'm not sure, but it was really cool. So accompanying the choir, it's like this really interesting mix, and of course it's incredibly well produced. Beyonce is a very underrated producer. I think when she produces her own stuff, she makes some of the coolest stuff you'll ever find. It doesn't get much better. But the mix and the instrumentation is just perfect. The guitar is getting this nice rhythm, the bass is filling in the low end to counter out the highs, and the synth and the sitar just accentuate Beyonce's choral voice just incredibly. It's just a really well done instrumentation. And then at one point the drums kick in and give it this nice like suspense, but it's not suspense in a way that it feels like disappointing. It's like, it just feels tense and suspenseful, and it's this really cool effect that those drums are building there. As for the lyrics, they're pretty meta, and a good introduction for what's to come. It's kind of Beyonce talking about how like people are saying, when she announced that she was doing a country album, people were like, it's gonna be bad, and doing the typical fan-hater thing where they just shit on anything that's new. And it's basically Beyonce being like, owning what she's made and making it her own, and it's a very meta set of lyrics, which I think is really cool. And the song ends almost exactly as it begins, with the nice chorus, and it was just a really lovely track. I gave this one an A. It was very good. The next track was Blackbird, and I wasn't quite sure about this one at first. It just seemed like her singing over just the original guitar sampled from Blackbird by the Beatles. And yeah, it's a cover, but I'm just really not sure about using the same guitar for a cover. Like, on her later tracks, there's some great guitar playing. Why didn't she just get that session guitarist to record the guitar again? Like, I just don't get why she had to use the original Paul McCartney guitar part? Why couldn't she just record her own? But like, I don't know, it's artistic choice, but I don't like it. However, I did warm up to it eventually. The choir that joins it is really cool. It's not just Beyonce singing the song like normal. There is a very nice, tasteful choir of harmonies over the top, which gives it its own flair, but like doesn't ruin the context of the original. It makes it its own, which is what a good cover should do. A cover shouldn't try and replicate the original. And then there's this really nice like synth bass and strings section that comes in, and it's not over the top either. A lot of times when people throw an orchestra over the top of a cover, it just feels cheap. But the producing here is just so good. It's perfectly mixed. I don't know how to describe how perfectly this song is mixed. Nothing feels grandiose to the point of stupidity. It's all perfectly mixed. So yeah, it's really something else, and I don't really know how else to describe it. But I didn't give it a super great grade just because that guitar part, like, it was annoying, because it's like, just record your own damn guitar part. But like, it's mixed so well, so I had a tough time grading it. It kind of brought it down significantly for me, just the fact that the guitar was not re-recorded. And so for that reason, I kind of dropped it down to a B. The next song is 16 Carriages, which is just a show of Beyonce's incredible vocal control. She's doing this thing where it's like, it's not rap, it's definitely not a rap, but it's so fast that with anyone else singing it might have turned into a rap. But she has such good vocal control that she's able to keep it as sung word, not spoken or rapped. And no one else can do that with the tempo that this song is at. This is honestly probably the first real country song in this album. The first two were definitely had some twang, but like they weren't country, let's be honest. This is the first song that was like, oh yeah, this is country music. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I'm not gonna mark any songs down because they aren't country enough. Like that's just stupid. This is the first song where I was like, wow, with one song Beyonce has outplayed the entire country music genre from the last 20 years. Like, this song just blows anything I've heard recently out of the water. And then she adds a twist by bringing in more synth stuff. Like, it's what this album needs. It can't just sound like any other country album. This is Beyonce. You've gotta put something in there. So she just throws the synth in again and it's so good. I wrote it down here in my notes. I said, this song has the potential to revolutionize country music. And what's funny is this isn't the only song where I thought this. Later on, I only have that sentiment reinforced. Like, this song legitimately, on its own, would revolutionize the genre and change how people think about it. But there's more later on that does the exact same thing. It's amazing. She's just adding something new to the genre that really needs it, and so I gave this song an A. It was the first song where I was like, whoa, hold up, this is music history right here. Protector is a very, very beautiful song about how Beyonce's experience as a mother, which is kind of different than a lot of the stuff that Beyonce has made in her career. It's interesting hearing Beyonce talk about motherhood because it's very different than the kind of stage persona that she has most of the time. And she does it really well. It's very tasteful. It doesn't feel like it's pandering. It's just so nice. The song is directly written as a lullaby to her own child, and I think there's a lot of beauty in that. Her kid, Rumi, who has dialogue at the beginning of the song actually, will always have this song to look back at, and that's really, really cool, because not everybody has that. Like, she's gonna hear her own mom in her own words singing the song to her, which is really, really cool to me. As for the actual song bit, I mean, it's very, very tasteful and well done and well produced, like just like everything else on this album. There's these really nice slide guitar bits in there too, which I did not expect. Like, slide guitar is aggressively country, and it's just so cool. It doesn't feel like it's overdone or pandering. It's just cool slide guitar in the back that fits really well. Song number 5 is called My Rose. This is the first interlude on the album. It almost feels like Baroque-ish, like something that got shit out of the 60s. But if Beyonce was around then, like some of that late 60s Sgt. Pepper's type stuff. It's pretty interesting, but it's also at the same time very not Baroque, because it's Beyonce and she can make whatever the hell genre, acid, jazz, Baroque, whatever genres. That's not what this is, but she can make whatever genre she wants, is what I'm trying to say. It's crazy. It's like choral, Baroque-ish. I don't even know how to describe it. Her vocal range is just a whole piano, and it's amazing. This is just a continuation of the last song, but it's so good. Like, if this thing was extended out, I don't even know if it would be, I think it could be its own song. Like, Everything on this album is just so tasteful. I've said that so many times. I've used tasteful and amazing 50 times on this video already. But that's just what it is. It's amazing. The next interlude, number 6, is Smoke Hour. That's another interlude, and I'm not gonna grade this one. It's like 30 seconds long, and it's just Willie Nelson talking with some samples. The samples are pretty cool. We've got some Roy Hamilton in there. We've got some Chuck Berry, some Sister Rosetta Tharpe. Just tributes to the great stars of the 50s who have shaped music as we see it today. By the way, if you don't know who Sister Rosetta Tharpe is, go look her up, because she changed music forever. Go look her up. All in all, it's just some like 50s songs being sampled and then some talking. I won't grade it. And then we get to the moment we've all been waiting for. Texas Hold'em, the 7th track on this album. And I didn't like it. I gave this song a C+. It's just not that interesting. It's just a pop song with some guitars. I don't think it's very tasteful. It's boring. The lyrics are dumb. It's just, this is Texas, it ain't Hold'em. Woo! There's woos in there. That already makes me hate it. Not hate, it's just, you know, it's a single. It's a single that was created to draw people into the album. And that's exactly what it did. I mean, this song is all over social media right now. You cannot escape it. This song did its job. It rolled people in. It got people interested in the album by pulling in the pop crowd, by pandering. I'm not mad. You kind of have to do what you gotta do. It's just not a highlight. And it's funny, because it's like the lead single, and it's not that great. But it did do what it's supposed to do, and which is pull in the pop crowd. So I can't like give it a low grade. I can just give it like a painfully grade. So I gave it a C+. Bodyguard. Bodyguard is another A+ on this album. The second A+ on this album. I don't give A+ that very often. So you know a song has to wow me if it's getting an A+. I wrote down the first words on this list are, oh my word, what a bass line. Because, oh my word, what a bass line. It's so well mixed, it's so well produced, it's just a great line that is written, so melodic, harmonious, whatever the fucking words you want to use are. The tone is just thumping. And then you have some like scraper action in the middle, in the rhythm section. The melody, super memorable, but not in an annoying way. Like, it's not some annoying earworm created to be an earworm. It's just a cool melody that's memorable. And again, not that country. You have twang, you have some elements, sure. It's not that country. And at the 90-second mark for the choruses, the bass line gets more funky somehow. I don't even know how you can do that, but it's like you're bringing in funk and hip-hop and all these genres to country and just making it better. She's already done more on a quarter of her album than the entire genre has done in the last 20 years. It's incredible. Also, this is one of the few tracks that is not produced, at least in part, by Beyonce. This is produced entirely by a guy named Sadiq, who I'll have to look up later, but I didn't have time to. It's geniusly produced, like seriously. It fits so well with Beyonce's vision. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain anything on this album. It's just that damn good. Like, the mixing, whoever was the mixing engineer on this also killed it. Because, like, the piano, the electric guitars, the bass, the drums, they all pop. Beyonce's vocals pop. Everything pops, and it's just such a good, like, salad of everything is tasted at once and just covered in this great dressing of production. And that's a great metaphor, I should write that down. Anyways, A+. This goes into the next interlude, Dolly P, which, funny enough, Dolly P is featured. Oh my gosh, Dolly Parton, yeah, crazy. It's another interlude, I won't grade it, but it's just a continuation of Smoke Hour, except instead of the dialogue being by Willie Nelson, it's by Dolly P this time. And it segues right into Jolene. This is just a 22-second dialogue, launches right in the next song. Cool appearance by Dolly Parton, nice to see you. Track number 10 is Jolene. This was a polarizing track. I have seen nothing online except people saying I hate this track and people saying I love this track. And I don't know what the hell people are saying when they say they hate this track. People are saying like, oh, you'll never be able to beat Dolly Parton's Jolene. Well, no shit, it's a classic. But like, so many people do Jolene covers, and it's just the same thing. It's just the Dolly Parton version, but like slower or faster, or you add in a extra guitar and say it's new. And Jolene covers are so stale. This is not one of those. Dolly Parton wrote this classic as a song begging another woman not to take her lover away, and it's actually a really interesting ballad that I think has really good underlying themes of insecurity and lack of self-confidence. Beyonce turns that around, but in a way that makes sense. Beyonce has changed it to fit more with her brand and what we know Beyonce stage persona is like. She has changed it from begging this woman who he thinks is better than her to kind of being that woman and being like, hey, back off my man, Jay-Z. Jay-Z's gonna cheat on you, Beyonce. He already did it twice. Well, like, we won't talk about that, I guess. But it's pretty crazy. She changes it really well. And it's not in a way where it feels stupid or heretical. You know why? Because Dolly frickin' Parton wanted Beyonce to do this song. So, I mean, obviously, if it has Dolly's stamp of approval, who am I to say no, it's not good? Like, and just listening to it, it's good. The guitar is so clean. That riff is, like, in your ears so well. The guitar is, oh my gosh, it's mixed well. And yeah, I've been hearing a lot of flack about this song, but it's not bad. And if you're telling yourself that it changed the original too much, shut the hell up, because Dolly Parton herself says this is exactly what she wanted. Like, I can't really say anything beyond that. A minor. Track number 11, I gotta go get going quick because I got class soon. Track number 11 is called Daughter, and I gave it a B+. This is a very lyrics-focused song, and therefore the choir that has kind of been accompanying Beyonce has kind of gone away, just to let the lyrics float in their own space and not be overpowered by overproduction and choral stuff, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, you don't want, if it's a lyrics-based song, you don't want it to be overpowered. That would be pretty stupid. But Beyonce really just sings from the heart, just giving it some flair, letting the lyrics speak, until there's a freaking switch. There's a switch in the middle of the song, and the second half is this dramatic choir piece, and it's like, it's a cover of an opera standard. I don't remember what it's called, but it's in Italian all of a sudden, and there's this beautiful choir in the background, and I'm like sitting here like, what the hell is going on? This is some Pimp a Butterfly type stuff. You've just changed genres in the middle of your song and changed the whole production, and it works so well. It's not lazy or choppy. It's one cohesive piece. Like, what are you doing? It's so good. Oh my gosh. And then by the end, it changes back to the original style, and it's like, we just went on a journey. This whole song is just a journey. The downside of that is the choir section is so cool that it makes the main sections feel lame by comparison, which is not something you really want for your song. But like, I'm conflicted on it, because if you didn't have those lame sections building to the choir and building out of it, you wouldn't be able to appreciate the choir section because it would just feel out of place. But like, if you do have it, the main sections sound lame, so I'm a bit torn, but like at the end of the day, the main sections are lame compared to the choir section, and so it's like, what do I give this? So I tried to be fair. I gave this song a B+, but like, the choir sections are an A+, and the lame sections are like a B-, so I kind of averaged it out-ish and got a B+, but like, what a journey, man. Track number 12 is called Spaghetti. It opens with a spoken word bit about genre, and I kind of smiled a little bit because I was like, oh, whoa, we're going meta again, just like American Requiem. So it's interesting that in the midway point of the album, Beyonce's kind of reminding me, hey, we're still meta here, we're still meta, we're still talking about genre here. It's a very cool little spoken word segment, which I like to open up the song. It's also a very dramatic, like, orchestral opening, and then it just goes into a rap. Like, sure, we're doing rap now. Okay, Beyonce, go do you. Wow. And the rap is accompanied by the weirdest assortment of instruments ever. The rap is accompanied by a drum machine, a synth, and a fiddle. Like, what are we doing here? But it works, and I don't know how. How do you get those three instruments to work together? They shouldn't. By all means of music production, this should not work. But it does, and I'm... What? This is Beyonce's first, like, true rap song on this album, and it delivers. I don't know what else to say. It delivers. The country flair is there. There's a feature by Shaboozey, which is pretty good too. The production can support him really well. I don't care for his rap style. It's a bit, reminds me of Future, who is a rapper I don't particularly care for. By the way, the Metro album was really good. That Metro album. But we're not talking about him. But Shaboozey is not an artist I care for, where the production did support him, and it was not a bad section. There were bars there. End of the day, I gave Spaghetti an A, because I was like, wow, how does this work? Alligator Tears was the first song on the album, which was just kind of a nothing burger for me. Like, it's the midpoint of the album, which is an unfortunate place to have a nothing burger. But it was just a nothing burger. I gave it a C. It was a neat guitar riff, but I found the drum machine and the clicking to just be annoying and kind of grating the whole way through. It was nothing memorable. Well produced, sure, like the rest of the album, but like, I don't have any gripes, like, specifically, except that drum machine, but like, it's just way outshined by the rest of the album, and it's just kind of like there. Smoke Hour 2 was just a continuation of Smoke Hour 1, another interlude. I won't grade it. Track number 15 is called Just For Fun. I gave it a B-. The thing about this song is that the choruses are really, really good. I loved the choruses. The verses are good and well produced, but like, I didn't find them spectacular. It was just good. The choruses introduced this really nice orchestral backing, which I like. It's just so satisfying, and I will say the song builds really well. It's not a bad song, it's not even a mediocre song, it's just outshined, so I gave it that B-. And the feature is nice. It just feels a little forced, as the guy who's featured, what's his name, Willie Jones or something like that. He only gets like one verse, so it's like, why is he here? Two Most Wanted, I gave it a B. Miley Cyrus was not a feature I expected on this album. I saw Miley Cyrus in the featured section, and I'm like, what? Miley Cyrus, is that right? It is. It's Miley Cyrus. It works though. It took me a second to kind of get into the song, because at first I was like, I don't like Miley Cyrus that much, but like I got into it eventually. The second verse is what really grabbed me, and the first verse was kind of, but the second verse got me in there. It's a cool song about like camaraderie in the music business from two very similar stars in the music business, it was cool. The singers did not try and overpower each other. They blended really well because, of course, it's two of the best singers right now, the last 20 years probably. So, I mean, of course they're going to blend well. They know how to do that. At the end, when the backing drops out for a bit and it's just the vocals going, you can tell that they just are very good singers because it's very powerful but not overpowering. It's this very tasteful harmony done by Miley and Beyonce. Combine their names. The bass is also mixed really nice. So yeah, it was good. Track number 17, we've got 10 left. It's called Levi's Jeans. I gave it a B+. The instrumental beginning was very interesting to me. The guitars were kind of clunking along. It was a very different taste. Like, they were almost like funk. Like, I don't know. It was this very like clean kind of almost DI type of tone, but it works. It works well, and it's very funky and different. The lyrics didn't really strike me. It's just kind of your typical, like, sexy and hot song. I don't care for it. Like, it's not my favorite. The production is nice, and that's what I focused on. I like the production. The second chorus especially has some nice sound mixing and sound design on it. The sound design on the second chorus is great. There's some really cool, like, transitional sounds going into the choruses, which I like a lot. The transition to Post Malone's part is also really, really clean. Like, it doesn't feel like the song just changes for no reason just to have Post Malone there. Like, it transitions quite cleanly, and I thought it was pretty nice. The only thing I didn't like here was the third chorus, just because, I don't know, maybe I'm nitpicking, but I thought maybe there'd be, like, a bigger drop or a bigger climax. But it's kind of the same as the first and second choruses. I didn't get anything extra out of it. So the third chorus was a bit disappointing when I was expecting a climax, but it's fine. Other than that, well done. I also wrote, what is this? The bass synth reminds me of Minecraft. I don't know what that means. The next is track 18, Flamenco. I gave it a B-. It's short and sweet. Interestingly, no flamenco guitar, which was like, okay, why is the song flamenco then? It doesn't even have it in the lyrics, like, why is it called this? So I mean, it was a bit of a letdown, but I'll get over it as a title. This is another lyrics-based song, as the mix is stripped back just to let the lyrics breathe and get their moment. And the orchestra at the end is nice. I like it, it's tight. Next interlude was called The Linda Martell Show, a great country artist dialogue. And then, we get to track 20. Ya Ya. Oh my word. This is my favorite track on the album. I'll just say it. The Nancy Sinatra sample was very unexpected, but I heard Carol K's bass line and I'm like, oh, this is a rip from Nancy Sinatra. It took a bit for me to get into it, but I'm just gonna read what I wrote because I kind of stopped writing incoherent sentences at some point in the song once the beat drop hit, because I was just like, oh my gosh. So I just started writing shit down, and I'll just read it off to you. This is in all caps, by the way. Once it hits. The drum breakdown is insane. And then the bass line, oh my word, what a song. And then the guitar, what? And then some more beat drops and guitar shit. And wow, holy shit, what a song, dude. What the Beach Boys, what the hell, another breakdown, oh my word, oh mercy, the production has me about to bust. That's what I wrote for this song. And that was what was going through my head. I was just wow moment after wow moment. I was blown away. I don't think I've heard anything like this in the last several years. There's nothing this genre bending that has come out recently. This may be my favorite song to come out of the last 3-4 years. Like, I don't even know what to say. This song reminds me a ton of the song I from Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly, which, if your album is getting compared to Pimp a Butterfly, you're doing something right, because that's one of the best albums of all time, of course. But, like, it reminds me a lot of Kendrick Lamar's I, and that is a good thing, because the amount of wow moments was like, oh my gosh. So, A+, a masterpiece. And then we get into the next song. Oh, Louisiana is track 21. This is all I wrote. Sped up minion vocals, absolutely not. Kill myself, never again. F. 22, track number 22 is called Desert Eagle. I gave it a B. Oh, Louisiana transitions nicely between Yaya and Desert Eagle. I mean, it does what it's supposed to do. Not well, but it does it. And the funk is up on this track. Like, the funk, we are killing it. And I mean, once I looked at who the producer was, I was like, oh, that's why. It's because Nile Rodgers is here. The Nile Rodgers. The Nile Rodgers who it was on Chic. The Nile Rodgers who is one of the greatest guitarists to ever live. The Nile Rodgers who produced the Halo 2 soundtrack. That Nile Rodgers. He's here. And I mean, any song produced by Nile's incredible. That man is amazing. That man can do anything. It was nice. As far as the song goes, nice. Nice. It was too short. It was really short. But I didn't really get an idea for the direction of the song. It was just kind of cool. Which, I mean, that's kind of Nile's style, is that the song doesn't go anywhere, it sits. But all the other songs feel like they're going somewhere, and this one doesn't, so it didn't really fit for me. I just can't really give it higher than a B. I just wanted more. Riiver Dance, I gave a C+. There's 2 I's in that, no typo. It reminded me of if like, Daft Punk was country rap. Because it was like a very much repeated vocals, similar to like Daft Punk's Around the World and One More Time, like very similar to those. But if it was country rap rather than EDM electronic. It's a sick-ass guitar riff too. Like, I'm not complaining about the music itself, really. As far as that guitar bit goes. There's some singing to break it up, but the main building is through the repetition, and it works well. It's a slow burn, you kind of have to sit there for it to get exciting, but if you have the patience, you can just let the song do its thing and build up. I just didn't feel like it ever reached a climax. It is once it got up to speed, nothing was there. It's kind of like the last song, there wasn't a peak. And therefore I was left unsatisfied, so I only gave it a C+, just because it was unsatisfying. Track number 25 is called Tyrant. I gave it a B. There's a really cool transition here. This is Beyonce's second real for hip-hop leaning song on this album, and it's unexpected, but in a good way. It's a great subversion of expectations, the sections work well, and I appreciate what the song is. But I gotta admit, you can't just really drop Dolly's name on the track as a feature and have her part be super minimal. I was disappointing. I was hoping to hear some like cool duet, but like her parts just seem kind of minimal. Like, come on, it's a little disappointed here, so I gave it a B. Next is Sweet Honey Buckin. I gave it an A-. Shabuzi is back for his second feature, and I got bored. The production was fine, but like it didn't support him quite as well. It kind of fell into the low end, and the 808 kicks were not my favorites. It's just not my favorite track, and the constant vocal loop in the background annoyed the shit out of me. And you may be wondering, like, then why'd you give it an A- then, if it's so boring? Because then the second half hits. The second half of this song hits, and I'm like, whoa! And this is what I wrote down in all caps. The second half hits. It's eons better. How do I rank this damn thing? It's impossible. There's a third section, which uses air horns, but still slaps. Awesome. And then the Beyonce rap was a little boring, but like nothing horribly bad. I still had a ton of fun vibing to it. And so the changes alone are just masterful. I just wish the first section was more interesting. So eventually I settled on an A- because like, despite the mid section, mid as in like mediocre, not mid as in middle, I had fun listening. And the last track Amen. I gave an A-. The finale track, we made it through all 27 tracks. Wow, that is a large amount of tracks for a non-double album. It's pretty simple. We leave how we started the album. Simple, harmonized choir over like a dramatically simple synthy piano thing. I like it a lot. It's a nice, dramatic, and purposeful exit. Very tasteful, as I've said before on this album. It's doing its own thing, not being a carbon copy of the opening. Just really, really well produced. And of course, the ending line repeats the beautiful melody from American Requiem, just as a little callback to the beginning of the album, kind of getting into that loop. And a single piano note ends it all. And so, wow. Wow. That's how it ends. That is all 27 tracks. Average grade, I put these into a GPA calculator, and I got an A-. For those of you who don't know how I grade, an A- average grade is really freaking good. The best song is easily Ya Ya. This is the best song to come out in the last 3-4 years to me. Like, that's a bit subjective, but I don't care. It's so good! Objectively, it's great too, but like subjectively to me, like, oh my gosh, that was good. Worst song, Oh Louisiana. Fuck them Minions. As for the ending paragraph, I will read this right off the sheet because I don't have time to improvise because I gotta go to class soon. Let's read this shit. There were some mid-songs in the back half that just didn't stick out. I should note that there's an asterisk here, because these songs don't stick out on their own. Within context, these are great songs because they enhance the album, and that's ultimately what every song should do. This album is just a work of art. I don't know how else to describe it. This has the chance to revolutionize modern country music. Like, I mean that seriously. This will change the game. Modern country has been waiting decades for something to happen. Because you had great country in like the 60s and great folk in the 70s that was kind of country-ish. And then like, you kind of don't have anything in the last 20, 30 years for country that's decent. You have something. You have Vince Gill. You have Vince Gill and you have like bluegrass, but bluegrass is not country. Let's make that very clear. They're very different genres. Country, straight country music has had nothing in the last 30 years. It's the reason anyone not raised on country music hates country music, because it's so samey, and it has been. So if you're not raised on it, you won't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it. I see it for what it is, and I don't appreciate it, because it's so boring nowadays. The most interesting thing you have is Morgan Wallen, and that's just because, like, he uses, like, something mildly unique in, like, one song. It's just so old, and, like, this album can be an inspiration from years to come. I mean, there is everything here. This is not just a country album. This is a masterpiece. You have rap, you have pop, you have funk, you have Brazilian, you have bluegrass, you have all these genres. Like, you have trap, you have choral, you have baroque, you have 60s, you have 50s, you have Kendrick Lamar inspired do whatnot. It's like Smash Bros. Everyone is here. What the hell is going on? And so Beyonce has proved that country doesn't have to just be country. Country can be something new because god damn it needs it. Mark my words, this album will change the game. You heard it here first. This album will change country music for years to come. You heard it here first. I'm either gonna look really stupid or really smart right now, and I hope it's really smart. That's a little egotistical. I don't care, it's a Beyonce video. And I'm not even touching on what this will change the game for country music as far as black artistry goes. Because, like, country music is a very white-dominated genre. And so this album has the chance to change the way people see country music and make it clear that, like, black culture has a lot of history in country music, too. You have artists like Leadbelly, you have artists like, Robert Johnson, who is more blues than country, but clearly country comes from blues. Like, you have a lot of black history. Sister Rosetta Tharpe, who could forget about her? Like, there's history there. And this album is proving it with those samples and proving that Beyonce is also putting her name on the country map. I mean, people forget Beyonce was raised on country. She was raised in friggin' Houston. Like, country was everywhere. And you can't avoid country music in Houston. I think Beyonce knows she just changed the game. We don't see albums like this come around very often, which can change how an entire genre is seen. And for that reason, this is an A+ album. This gets the rank of Gavin dubbed A+ album. Nobody gets A+s from me. The last time I gave an album an A+ was The Weeknd's Dawn FM, and that was over 2 years ago. So the fact that I'm giving this an A+, I could go on and on, but I need to get to class. Anyways, Beyonce just made Album of the Year. There's no way anything else tops this. Sorry, Taylor, but like, there's no way you genre bend harder than this. There is no way anything tops this. This is the album of the year. And that's with 21 Pilots and Lenny Kravitz on the way. Like, nothing's gonna top this, let's be real. I will be reviewing all those, by the way. Taylor Swift, Lenny Kravitz, 21 Pilots, Pearl Jam, maybe, I don't know. There'll be a lot. Until then, though, this is a masterpiece. And this is the album to beat this year. And that's all I have to say about that. This was a true experience. Beyonce is a legend. That's all I have to say. See you in the next one.